Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Elena and I am a mom to 3 kiddos that we also happen to homeschool. And here on this channel we discuss everything from homemaking to homeschooling and all the chaos in between. Today's video is a collaboration video. It is hosted by Emily. Her YouTube channel, I will link it down below along with the playlist, but her channel's name is A Woman on a Journey, and I'm super excited to do this. I'm so glad that she asked. Today we're talking about morning baskets and quiet time. Now in our homeschool, we don't do morning baskets. I know, it's super popular among homeschoolers, and I think for great reason. It just never has really ebbed and flowed for us very well. It just, for whatever reason, at this season in our life and the past seasons, it's not been something that we really, as a family, have gotten to do very well. When I have done it, it just kind of seemed very forced, and my kids always kind of staggered wake-up times, so it didn't work out as well for us. So instead what we do is kind of quiet time. Quiet time is for all of us. It's a time for me to either just take a mental break when I need to, if we just need some quiet, because it can get pretty loud with 3 kiddos and myself in the house. But it also gives my youngest a little time to reset and relax, which he really needs. It gives my daughter some time on learning how to be alone. She is the middle child. Sometimes she struggles with alone time, I think because she has both an older and younger brother. There's always people around, there's always someone that's willing to play with her or do activities with her, and sometimes it can be hard for her to settle off and do things on her own. And I want her to be comfortable with that. I want her to be comfortable with being alone with her thoughts and not always having someone else take the lead. I want her to be comfortable in making decisions of what she wants to do. Now, I do, as you'll see, help her a little bit during quiet time with decisions on activities. And then for my oldest, quiet time for him just gives him time to finish up any work that he needs. It also gives him a little bit of a breather from being big brother all the time, kind of when his dad is gone and it's me at home with the kiddos. He's second in command, so it kind of gives him a little break from that, which I think is great for him too. And then if he needs to finish up on any school activities that he has to do that he really needs quiet and concentration for, that's his time to do it, or his time to do silent reading or any of the other things we'll get into. So let's start with my oldest. Quiet time for him, well, let me tell you a little about him. He is entering the 9th grade this year and he is 14. He is an avid reader, so he really enjoys reading, and I'm so grateful for that. So quiet time for him is a time to just sit in his room, be alone in his room, and not have to have his younger siblings around kind of wanting his attention or needing his attention, and to just really dig into a great book. He's also started listening to audiobooks and found that he really enjoys that as well. So it's a time for him if he wants to just put on headphones and kind of listen to books quietly in his room. It also gives him time, like I mentioned before, to finish out some subjects that he may need greater concentration for. So if he is struggling with a particular math problem or pages or new concept, this gives him the quiet in the house he needs to really focus and concentrate on it. Again, the same thing will go if he has a test that he wants to take for one of his subjects, or if he just has something else that really requires concentration for schoolwork. So he's taking biology this year, he is doing algebra, he's started a new language arts curriculum. So all of these are really kind of taking a little bit more time for him as he finds his rhythm in it. And I know that sometimes we just have assignments that take longer than others, and the quiet is appreciated. So during quiet time, he's free to do really any of those things. The only thing that I really don't allow is screen time. So he will not be watching YouTube, or he will not be playing online games or anything like that. It is a time to just come down a little and have the house be quiet. Now for my daughter, who is 8 and kind of struggles with being alone, I've kind of made a few cards and ideas to help her along and prompt her with quiet time. So during quiet time, my oldest will usually go to his bedroom. We are blessed enough to have a spare room that's kind of turned into a sort of playroom for the kids. It just houses extra toys and stuff that I don't want in my younger children's room. So she is free to be in that room if she is quiet. And some of the choices that I have for her, let me back up to these cards. So all I did was on a document was put some pictures on there of ideas and things that she could do that were acceptable to me during quiet time. And what that means acceptable to me is that they were activities she could do quietly. So again, no screen time and no TV kind of thing. So I printed out the pictures. It ended up being just one sheet for me right now, and then I laminated it and cut out the pictures. The first thing I have is our stem card. I know there's a bad glare. I'll try to post a picture up beside me too, but it's just a picture of our stem card that we had created. And that stem card, I will link the video to how I created it and what all's in it above and then in the description box as well. So she is free to pick one of the stem card activities or ideas or create her own and quietly work on it. Some of the other activities we have for her is Play-Doh. She actually really enjoys playing with Play-Doh and will do so, and so I have that as an option for her as well. The same goes with Lego. She enjoys these too, so it's just a small little clip art picture. Sorry, it's so bad the glare. Small little clip art picture of Legos, and she knows that that is an option. Along with the hand type sensory things, we have a lot of sensory bins. So this is just a picture of one of the bins and her brother actually playing in the bin. I will link again, when we made our sensory bins, we did just some DIY sensory tools, and I will link that video for you both in the description box and then up on top in the cards if you wanted to see some inexpensive ways that we did our sensory bins. So that's something that she enjoys playing with. Really, all of those use her imagination, her creativity, and I'm all for her doing that in quiet time. Along with creativity, I just have some of our arts and crafts picture here. It's just a picture of feathers, Google eyes, those Chanel sticks, what are they, pipe cleaners, and then like color popsicle sticks. So it's just a shoebox or a bag, whatever I have nearby. I don't have one preset for her. I guess I could do that and it would go a lot easier. That might be something. But usually what I do is just go ahead and grab a bag or a box and I throw in just a couple of art supplies in there for her, and then I tell her this is what we're limited to today and go crazy with it. Make your art with it. And she's usually very pleased to do that. Some of the other activities are coloring. Sometimes I think that my kiddos just kind of forget. This is just a free clip art of a child coloring. I think that my kiddos forget the joy in that, and not until they see me bring out the coloring books and crayons do they realize that, oh yeah, I forgot this is really fun. I typically have some coloring books put aside. Like I said, they have coloring books at Access all the time, but during quiet time especially, I like to have some special ones. So this is a great book that my mom actually purchased for her. It says Your God's Girl Coloring Book, and it's from Hobby Lobby. I'm sure you could find it online as well too, but inside it just has some great, I'm trying to find one she hasn't colored. It has some great pictures in there. Here's a young girl playing softball, and it says, be different, be bright, and be full of Christ. And then John 3:16, Jesus cleaned up my mess. So these are great little fun coloring things for her to do. We also have just regular coloring books for her, but especially things like this I like to have in her bin with crayons, so it feels special. The last choice for my daughter is just cozying up and reading, and so again, this picture is just a clip art of a little girl reading in her bed. And so I do have a couple of books that I've pulled aside for her, again, to just kind of make it special. So they have books at their disposal any time of the day they want to go ahead and grab it, but again, sometimes it's just hard for them to quiet down enough to settle in and read, especially for my younger two. They're usually running around and really being active, which is fantastic, but this is a time, like I said, for us to rest and reset. So I will put in a couple of these like easy reader books for her in there, just things that I think that maybe she wouldn't normally pick up off the shelf for herself, but I think would interest her. I know this Pinkalicious character, she really enjoyed watching that. And Amelia Bedelia is actually one that I enjoyed reading as a child, and so she knows this, and that connection kind of makes her a little bit more willing to pick up the book. Now for my daughter and these cards, I do not have separate bins already laid out for her. So she doesn't have like a Monday bin, a Tuesday bin, so on and so forth, or she doesn't have a complete quiet time bin. I just have these things located around the house, and right now what we're doing is I am assigning one card per day of the week, and then as she gets used to these cards, I will let her pick and choose which one she wants to do. And the reason for that is that I kind of know my daughter, and if she has too many decisions at one time, it's overwhelming for her, and she won't be able to pick just one, and we may just spend like 10-15 minutes trying to make one decision. So in the beginning, I'm going to just pick the card for her and tell her, this is the activity that you'll be doing for quiet time. This is your special time with these quiet time tools, and it's just for you to enjoy it on your own, kind of hype it up for her so that it's not seen as a punishment. And then as we progress and she kind of learns which the activities are, if she asks for a particular activity, she can go ahead and do it, or I can give her like 2 choices, so this or this. And then as she progresses, if she wants more decisions, we can take all the cards out and she can pick. Another idea that you can do is just dump it all in a bag, like maybe a paper bag or an empty box, and let the kids just draw one out. So it can be a surprise to them, but they feel like they're in control and they've picked the activity they want to do. Those are all the options I have right now for my daughter. We are blessed enough that, like I said, we have space for the children to space out. But I did want to say this. Prior to having been blessed with this new home that we rent, we were in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it was tight. But we still had quiet time there. So what I would do during that time was, in the 2-bedroom apartment, one bedroom was for my husband and I, and the 2nd bedroom was for my 3 kiddos to share. We ended up giving them the master suite because it was the biggest room aside from the living room. And so my daughter would either go into the bedroom or the living room, and then whichever room she didn't pick, my older would go into. So if my daughter was in the bedroom, my oldest would be in the living room. And if they wanted to swap, they would swap. And then my youngest son and I would be in mine and my husband's room. And that way the kids had space a little bit, just a little bit of space, but it works wonder for them to space out just for a little bit. Quiet time for us can last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. If we're really lucky, an hour and a half. But usually after that, the kiddos are done. And then the hour and a half was when my youngest was still napping, and he's kind of gotten over that stage. But let me show you what we do for him instead, since he doesn't really need that nap time anymore. So like I said, when we were in the apartment, my youngest and I would go into our bedroom, and that is still kind of the same routine. My youngest is on the autism spectrum, and I think that having him near me just to kind of guide him and give him that constant reminder that it is quiet time and we're not running around, he's just not ready to do it in a room on his own yet. We're working on it, but he's just not there yet. So for now, what I do is I have just one of these under the bed storage bins. I did go ahead and empty it out because it would have been really awkward for me to hold a big heavy one here, but I just have one of these under the bed storage bins, and in there is where I put his choices for quiet time. Now, my goal is to kind of rotate through things. This year, we have just restarted quiet time. We kind of let it go during the summer. So since the school year just started, we've just restarted. So that's why I say that it's my goal, because we haven't really done it for too long yet. But typically in here, what I'll put is a couple of options for him, and I'll let him pick what he wants to do for quiet time. And he can do that either on my bed or on the floor in my room. And if I'm extremely tired that day, I will encourage him to do it on the bed, just so I can lay down, honestly, and get like 5 minutes of rest for my body. If I'm good to go and I don't feel like I need that rest, then I will use that time to work a little bit, maybe editing or filling out some paperwork that needs to be done, whatever quiet work that I can do and be seated for. Some of the options that I put in there for him are books. I like to rotate the books out for him. So we are, again, incredibly blessed that we have enough books to rotate out. If you're looking for a great place to purchase used books, I would encourage you to check your thrift stores, and if that is not an option for you, I will link another video we did for unboxing of Book Outlet. They are used books, and they're typically at a really great price. Some of them are a little bit more beat up than others, but for us, I find that's perfect because I don't have to worry about my kids throwing them around or dropping them, or just, being kids with books. Sometimes they don't always last as long. So, we have purchased some from them, and then that makes it easier for me to rotate because, like I said, we had moved and had to get rid of a lot of our stuff, and unfortunately books were a big portion of that. So some of the books that I rotate in and out for him are books that I think will encourage quiet play. So this one is How Do Dinosaurs Say Goodnight? It's just a quiet type reading book. And then this one is an Usborne Lift and Look dinosaur book. So kind of like a pop-up type book where you go through and not awkward at all. you go through and you read, and then they have the little pages where you can pull down and see another picture. And so I have this one in here. Usborne has some really great books, but again, if it's just not in your budget, I would definitely check Book Outlet. I would also check eBay, because a ton of our books come from eBay. I find that we find some really great deals on there. Other books in the bin could be coloring books. Again, I like to just pull out a couple and have a small container of crayons for him. We have one large shoebox full of crayons, but that is just too overwhelming. I find that he ends up just playing with the crayons instead, digging them and dumping them, and then it's a huge mess, and it's not so quiet when I'm trying to have him clean up. So I just give him a small portion of crayons, and then we just have some coloring books in there. He won't sit and color for very long, so it's just another option in there for him, but that's why I like to have more than one thing for him, because when he grows bored of this, he can look at his books, or we also have some activity type books. So this one is from Usborne. It's called Puzzle Ocean, and you just kind of read along this particular page. You can kind of just read the short story, and then it asks you down at the bottom, can you find each shark a seaweed sandwich? And so it's kind of like a look and find and a story all in one, and there's like little maze type things in there that they can kind of follow along with. So just some really cool little puzzle type things. Another thing that I found that he really enjoys is sticker books. So this I found at our local Dollar Tree. It is actually called Sticker Puzzles, and there are only 4 puzzles in here. But the sticker pieces are pretty large. This one looks like it's numbered 248. And so you have these little square stickers, and then you put them on the page here in order, and it makes a picture. And so we just found these at the Dollar Tree. We thought these were really great. On the note of the Dollar Tree, we also found these paint with water books. I couldn't find these for the longest time. I'm so glad that I found some at the Dollar Tree, and I bought one of each that they had. It was only, I think, like 4 that they had, so I purchased them when we found them. But these are so great because they're just these like pre-inked pages, and all they need is just either a little paintbrush with water, and you can have them quietly color that. Now, like I said, we do this in my bedroom, so I do not give him a glass of water and a paintbrush. So what I give him instead to paint with those is these really cool watercolor pen thingies. I have no idea what the right word is, but it's really cool. What you do is you kind of just twist it off here, and you fill this bottom piece up with water. Now, if you do watercolors, you can also fill it with watercolors and have one pen for each color. But we like to just fill it with plain water and then dip it into the colors that way. Then you twist it back on, and if you take off the top here, you can see that my kiddos have been using this because the brush is kind of mangled up, but that's okay because it's theirs and they're free to use it however they wish. And then you just kind of press the sides, and the water, I don't know if I can get close enough for you to see. When you press the sides, the water will drip out, and then the brush is wet, and they can use it to paint like that. Now I'm stuck with a wet hand. So I will give him one of these, and then he has a choice if he wants to do that. He can sit down and paint together. I also picked up a couple for my daughter because she enjoys doing these as well. So instead of coloring, that's also an option for her too. And then sometimes I'll put in there some of the toys that he enjoys playing with that maybe his older siblings don't as much. So my 2 older ones still play with Legos, with the smaller type Legos, and he will occasionally play with these larger ones, but the older ones aren't into it, and so he won't reach for it because he knows that they won't join in and play with him with it. So I have these up there for him sometimes. So I will put these up for maybe a week or 2 or every other day, just until I see he's getting kind of tired with it. And the way that I know that he's getting tired with it and it's not an activity he enjoys anymore is, well, typically he'll just tell us, but he doesn't have much interest in it, or he's not playing correctly with them. And what I mean by not playing correctly is that he's starting to throw it, or he's being intentionally loud. Those are all signals and cues for me that he's done with this activity and he doesn't want to do it anymore. Lately, he's really been into mazes as well, and so I have some of these letter mazes that I have printed off. I will try to remember where I got them from and link it down below. I just printed it out on different colored paper and then I laminated them and cut them in half. And that way they can use it with like a dry erase marker or pencil or crayon, whatever we have. So that's also an option for him as well. And that's pretty much it for the activities that I give them. Now, like I said, we will rotate. So if this is something that you'd like to see as we rotate either seasonally or however often we do it, let me know down below. Leave a comment and I will be more than happy to share the different activities we come up with as my kids grow and progress and their tastes change. So what could be entertaining for them today, as we all know for kids, tomorrow they could lose interest in, and then a week after pick it right back up again. So I'd also like to know if you do quiet time and have activity bins for your kids or have different activities set up for them. Let me know down below. Let's share activities and just help one another out that way. That is all for our quiet time activities and things that we do. Thank you so much for watching. I truly, truly appreciate it. It really honestly means so much to us. If you liked this video, please be sure to click that thumbs up. And if you'd like to subscribe and join our little YouTube family, we would absolutely love to have you. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button and then the little bell notification so you can be notified every time we upload a new video.